Hey everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to pot a plant that has been propagating in water. So this is a string of bananas. Uh, this is the daughter of Harry, one of the plants that I have. Um, she, she's been rooting in water for about 6 weeks, if not a little longer. I kind of lost track. But she's got a nice amount of roots now, and we're gonna place her in soil so that I can gift her to one of my friends. All right, so we are going to get started. This is kind of my setup for when I am potting a plant. I always like to use some kind of container. I always use this container because it keeps everything contained, literally. It just kind of keeps the mess away from the surface that I'm working on. So it's just an easier cleanup when we are done. So this is the plant here. This is the saucer that this pot is going to be sitting in. I purposely keep the nursery pots or other plastic pots that you get from the store because they make for a really easy way to gift your plants to other people without feeling stingy, asking for your ceramic or really nice plastic pot back. So the soil that I'm going to be using today will be this black gold all-purpose potting mix. I have used it for all of my plants and I have not had any issues. Although it says for flowers and vegetables, I have used it for all of my houseplants and I have not had any issues thus far. All right, so we are going to get started here. I am going to take my all-purpose potting mix and place it into this pot here. My goal is to basically get it at a good level for when I eventually put the plant into the pot. I want it to be sitting at a nice height. Not only just to allow obviously the top of the plant to not be too far down into the pot where it won't get any like direct sunlight. I also want to create enough space for the roots to grow inside of this pot. If I made the soil too shallow, it wouldn't give the roots enough space to grow and flourish, I guess, essentially in the soil. It also needs enough soil so that it can grow properly. The pot itself is a very important size to start out with, but even more so, the amount of soil you place in this pot also is a very key important role into taking a plant from propagating in water into a pot. So we're gonna start with that. All right, so let's start off with putting our soil into the pot. I have this little plastic cup that I keep inside of here just because it's easy to, instead of use my hands, use this cup to kind of get the soil in a concentrated area versus just like in my fist. So I'm gonna take my soil, put it in the pot here. My goal is to get it about, I would say 3/4 of the way filled with this soil. Obviously, the smaller the pot, the quicker it is to fill it up. When I was repotting George, my pothos, that took a lot of soil. So now that I've done that, you can kind of see it does look very full. However, trust me, this is plenty of space to leave for this plant. This plant also is a vining or hanging plant where the leaves aren't going to be growing out. Rather, they're just growing vines that are going to be kind of draping over the sides of the pot. So this is a perfect amount of soil. We're going to create a well in the soil. You don't want to pack your soil down because you need enough space for the roots to move around and breathe, as well as you need good aerated soil for the water to be able to filter properly. If the water is in compacted soil, it's not going to be able to drain properly, and you're going to end up creating kind of like a root rot potentially because the water isn't draining. It'll just kind of become stagnant, which is gross. So yeah, next up we are going to be taking this plant out of the vase and into the pot. Okay, so we are going to take the plant out of the pot here, or the vase. As you can see, the roots are really nice. There are some really long strands here. I'm going to be taking this out. I like the kind of bottleneck aspect of propagating for plants because it allows all the leaves to sit on top without drowning in the water. It also allows a lot of space for the roots to grow and thrive within the bottle. So here we see some beautiful roots. We always like to kind of take a look at them, make sure that they look healthy and ready to thrive in soil. So we're gonna literally take everything just like this. If you want, there are some people that try and detangle all of this to kind of set them strategically into the pot. But I would like them to kind of stay as one cohesive piece so that it looks nice and full, at least in the center of the plant. So I'm going to just literally create this a little bit deeper of a hole because I've got a few stems that I need to fit in there too that I don't want to cramp up. So I'm literally just going to place them in like this. I actually need to create a little bit more of a divot here. Kind of push the soil around there. We want all of these baby fresh roots to be all underneath the soil. So let me grab the camera, kind of show you what it looks like now, and then we'll move on to putting more soil around the plant so that it can be fully covered. All right, so this is what we are looking like right now. As you can see, the roots are still exposed outside of the soil, which is what we would like to correct. But otherwise, it is sitting nicely in the middle. It's gonna give these roots plenty of room to grow. Don't be surprised if at first, after you pot it, it doesn't grow for a few weeks. It takes time to kind of adjust not only to the soil, but also to the size of the pot as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and take more of our soil here. This is gonna be a lot less soil, so I purposely don't put a lot in this cup because I don't want to overwhelm myself or the plant with too much soil all at once. So I'm just going to kind of go in, fill in these gaps with the soil. I'm not patting anything down just yet because I want to see what it looks like. If I pat it down while I'm still trying to fit more soil in here, I could end up putting too much in. So after I've placed some additional soil, I'm going to very gently tap around, make sure that the plant is nice and secure in this new pot. And then I need to kind of adjust her a little bit so that she stays in the center. It's not crucial that the plant is in the center. I just think aesthetically speaking, it looks nicer, especially because as these vines hang off, it's going to naturally pull the kind of home base of the plant further over to one side. As I've learned with Harry, which is this plant's father or mother, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, this is what we look like now. Nice and happy and healthy. There's no roots exposed and the soil is at a good level. The plant seems to sit nicely in this pot, so I'm going to move over to watering it and then we will conclude the video. Okay, so now we are ready to water our plant. I have us setting in the sink here because there's really no need to go outside for a plant this small. Otherwise, I would do this outside. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is I always use filtered water. Nothing against the city that I live in's water. I just would rather have nice filtered water so that I know that I'm not shocking the plant with any chemicals. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour the water into the plant. You kind of, at this point, the goal is to get rid of any air pockets that are in the soil. At this point, a lot of people will tap the side of the pot to kind of encourage any air pockets to come out. I also like to kind of hold it up. You can kind of shake it a little bit if you want. But the goal is to water until you see exactly what's happening. You want to see some water dripping out of the bottom of the pot, because that is how you know that the water is making its way all the way down. So I'm just gonna watch this, and it really, because of how small of a pot this is, it shouldn't need too much more water. I'm just gonna go based on if some of the soil still looks dry, which maybe a little bit, but not too much. So we're dripping, we're happy, and I'm going to place this in some bright indirect sunlight. I only have north facing windows, So that will have to do. Okay, so this is the plant that we just potted, and this is the daddy plant. So hopefully the plant that we just potted will end up just as beautiful as its father. Thank you for watching.